Now that I'm used to the climate, I think that if man ever found a place to live easy and happy, that Eden is on Puget Sound. Eden is on Puget Sound. That Eden is on Puget Sound. A place to live easy and happy. That Eden is on Puget Sound.
Hello and welcome to the Seattle Files. My name is Chris Allen, I'm your host. Every week I get together with a different local comedian, and together we discuss the strange, unusual, interesting, and oftentimes lesser-known aspects of our local history. Joining me today on the program is Alison Luhrs. Hey, Alison.
How's it going,
It's
Chris?
good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
Alison is an ensemble member in Jet City Improv. She is a founding member of Miram Productions. She is a producer of the Chicago Improv Tournament, the National Improv Tournament for college students.
Also the largest improv tournament in the world.
Oh, in the world?
In the world, in the whole wide world.
And you won in
Yes.
college, correct? With the Dead Parrots up in Western.
Yeah, the Dead Parrots and I won nationals in 2011. We were the first team outside of Illinois to ever win.
Hey.
So, suck it, Chicago.
Yeah, suck you. This isn't the Chicago
Hell
Files.
no. Yeah.
She is also a voice actress on the podcast Mermaid in Manhattan, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is a post-apocalyptic adventure between mermaids and reverse mermaids.
Correct. Yeah, it takes place in New York City after the apocalypse, and it features a three-way married couple and their adventures under and slightly above the sea.
Awesome. It's a lot of fun. You can check it out on iTunes or go to the website, which is Mermaid in Manhattan.
Yeah, if you just Google it, it's right
Cool.
there. There's
Awesome.
not many things called Mermaid in Manhattan.
Excellent,
So it makes
excellent.
the SEO pretty solid.
Cool. How long have you lived in the Seattle area?
I have lived in Seattle for about 4 years now. I've lived in Western Washington for 8, and I grew up in Eastern Washington.
Oh, okay. So you lived in the state of Washington
Yes.
your entire life.
Yeah, and I've always had a love affair with Seattle. I've wanted to move here since I was a kid. Like, Seattle is my jam. And
Why would anyone want to leave Eastern Washington?
Oh, why would anyone ever want to leave the bounty of Eastern Washington? It's a mystery.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How much do you know about local history?
I know a good amount. I know
a good amount, okay.
a little bit of everything.
You're the first person on this cast that has ever said that.
No way, really?
Everybody says, I don't know anything, I don't know as much as I should. So that's awesome.
I love history.
You know things.
Yeah, no, and Seattle's built on whores and breaking the law. How could you not want to learn more about that?
It really is, yeah.
My
It
gosh.
really is.
Yeah.
So, but you have no idea what we're going to be talking about today, correct?
Not a clue.
Awesome. Well, first off, a big thanks to Katrina Hamilton for this topic suggestion. If you have a topic that you would like to hear an episode about, shoot me an email at theseattlefiles@gmail.com. So thank you, Katrina.
Oh, that's so helpful.
Al Rochester was born in Seattle on March 28th.
Wait, his name's Owl?
Al Rochester.
Oh, Al. I
Yeah.
thought his name was Al. I
No,
got
not Al.
really excited
Al.
for a second.
Al Rochester, born in Seattle, March 28th, 1895.
All right,
At a young age, he was put to work for the family, leading the family cow down worn paths of what is now 19th Avenue.
Oh, I hope they had just one cow. The only cow in the family.
The one cow family?
Yeah, the one cow family.
I don't know. I know that he at a young age probably could not handle more than one cow, but I don't know if the family is rich in cows.
Little Al/Owl is a tiny spotted gentle fellow who probably would get in more trouble if he had more than one cow. So that's
Probably.
it's probably for the best.
He sold newspapers for a time in the restricted district south of Yesler Way, also known as the Tenderloin or Skid Road, the bad part of town, where all the prostitutes and stuff
Oh, yeah,
are.
yeah, all the good stuff.
Rochester was 14 in 1909, at the time of the Alaska Yukon Pacific Expo.
It's good times.
The first World's Fair Seattle hosted. He worked on the pay streak, the most carnival-like environment at the event, operating a bread slicing machine.
Oh, man. You know, that's the kind of hot shit that you just don't find at World Fairs anymore.
You don't, yeah.
Like, it must have been so much fun to be at one of those events back in that day, because all the new stuff they were showing off were like waffles and I don't know.
bread slicing machines.
And it's mostly just bread-based products,
He
but
loved
it's
it.
really exciting.
Yeah, he loved being there.
Oh, that's so cute.
He also worked as a shill.
Oh.
Where he would watch demonstrations and then excitedly run up to the sales table or the ticket booth with money.
Oh, man.
And hoping other people would follow his example.
Oh, man.
They're like, that sounds great. I'll take 2 of those things.
What?
Hey, everybody, let's go get some of this.
Bread-based products? You don't say. I'll take 9.
I hear carbohydrates are good for your complexion.
Starch? I'll take 6. Ideal job. Really.
Ideal job.
I mean, between the cow and then moving on to this and being a bread slicer,
He's
you
doing
can't
pretty
really
well.
go wrong. Yeah, that's not so bad.
Al Rochester went on to serve in World War I.
That's a bummer.
And
That's
when
a
he
bummer.
came
Yeah.
home,
Oh,
he
that's
became a city councilman.
Nice.
Where he served as chairman of the Parks and Streets and Sewers Committees, and occasionally served as acting mayor.
Aw.
So he's doing well.
Wow. How old was he around that time then? He must have been like 25?
He would have been older than that.
30,
Yeah, he
yeah.
would have been in his 30s, early 40s.
I'm an optimist. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
He helped implement in Seattle one-way streets, street parking for the physically handicapped, and daylight saving time.
I'll hold the one-way streets against him, but everything else is pretty.
Everything else is good.
Everything
yeah.
else is great.
Parking for the handicapped, yeah. Daylight savings time,
Yeah, that's all right. One-way street, fuck you.
Okay.
But I understand.
You turned on Al like that.
Well, people are multifaceted. Little Owl is, he's done a lot of good. He's also confused Google Maps several times.
Yeah, this is before
Actually,
Google Maps.
Speaking of the devil, on my way here, I was confused because it led me down a one-way street.
It'll do that.
So, yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I live in Lower
saying.
Queen Anne, and it's a bizarre little network of one-way
is,
streets
it
where
is.
I live.
But you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, all right. During his long life and years of service, he never forgot how much he loved the Alaska Yukon Pacific Expo, where he worked as a boy.
Oh, how could you not?
In the early 1950s, at a small luncheon that was an informal meeting of the Washington Athletic Club, he proposed Seattle hold another World's Fair.
Oh, that happened.
Yes, it did. This is the first seeds of that.
What a good pitch man. He started out in his teens, like pitching ideas to people and
Yeah.
being the example of, oh, you guys should buy this starch-based product. And look at him now.
And I love how this is how it starts, because when he was a kid, he loved this thing
He
so
loved
much
it.
that he wanted to do it again.
That's charming
Yeah.
as hell.
People responded positively,
Yeah.
and when he returned to
Because
work...
it's a good idea.
Yeah. People don't always respond to good ideas,
Yeah,
but they do
no,
this
but
time.
this is like, oh, hey, it's a party for the whole town. Also, we get to look really smart.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna think we're fancy, and we won't have a murder house like Chicago did.
Ooh, hope not.
Yeah, that's for another podcast.
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
probably
Oh,
only
the
listen
Chicago
to.
World's Fair.
That's a
and
good
H.H. Holmes, Devil in the White City.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm with you. People responded positively, and he drafted a letter to the Washington State Legislature proposing Seattle hosted another World's Fair. His proposal would put the fair in 1959 to commemorate the 50-year anniversary of the first one, and asked the state for $5,000 to form a World's Fair commission.
God, he's such an agent of sentimentality.
He's going
That's
for
so cute. Yeah.
The first incarnation of the commission met in 1955, with Al Rochester as executive director. Also on the panel were a handful of state senators and representatives, city councilmen, business leaders, and other politicians.
Cool.
Many sites were considered for the fairgrounds, including First Hill, the Duwamish Head, Sandpoint Naval Air Station, and Union Bay near the University of Washington.
Wow, most of those are terrible locations.
They really are, yeah.
Why? I've got this brilliant idea. We're going to have a World's Fair next to the grittiest, grossest, nastiest river you've ever seen in your life. How's that sound?
Yeah, we're going to do it far, far away
Yeah.
from the center of the city,
Yeah.
where it'll be a pain in the ass to get out there.
By the way, we don't really have infrastructure at all, so, like, have fun, 20 people who make it out there.
Yeah,
You're-
infrastructure,
You're going to find so
schminfrastructure.
many bread products. It's going to be rad.
The location was eventually settled to be built on a 28-acre parcel of land at the foot of Queen Anne Hill.
That's a little bit closer.
Yeah,
a
the
little
site
bit
of the
smarter.
Civic Auditorium in what is now the Seattle Center campus.
I've been there.
You have been there.
I think we've all been there.
The plan was to build a large campus for the fair that could then be used as a city center after the fair was over.
Oh, that happened.
All of this stuff happened. The voters passed a $7.5 million Civic Center bond in a 3-to-1 margin, and the legislature passed its own $7.5 million bond. So now we've got $15 million to put towards the
man.
fair.
You know, I'm really happy that they put so much time planning this.
Yeah.
Like, thinking now about how much money goes into making large-scale events, like, the only places that can host the Olympics now are, like, really crazy totalitarian governments. Like, they're the only places that have that sort of money. But it feels like back in the day, like, you didn't need, like, all of that in order to make something amazing happen.
People rally together.
Yeah,
And say,
and
hey guys, we're going to throw on a World's Fair.
And when you got a charming party thrower, who's leading the bill, being like, hey gang, let's all get together and hang out. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? It's perfect.
Yeah.
I just like parties a lot.
yeah.
You know?
The event was called Festival of the West. which was soon renamed the Century 21 Exposition.
I mean, that's not nearly as cool as the first name.
I like Century 21 Expo better than Festival of the West.
Festival of the West is like so late 50s, early 60s.
It is, yeah.
But I guess in the long run, being like really, really overly into the 21st century is probably the most 50s and 60s that you can get.
Well, here's what happened. So this was the Festival of the West, and that's interesting that you say that, the 50s to 60s kind of changeover, because something happened in the interim. October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik into space. And it's the beginning of the space age.
Yeah, space race.
Yeah, the first man-made satellite was orbiting the Earth, and it seemed the U.S. to be losing the space race.
Oh, man. But you know what? We're not losers.
We're not losers.
We're not losers. No, that's just a challenge. Fear is a tool.
Yeah.
And we're going to take that.
Yeah. Pain is weakness leaving the body.
Oh, exactly.
Feel the burn.
Your fear is something that you can use to get your ass into space faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell myself whenever I'm exercising or something. So,
yeah. And this confirms what I've always suspected about you, that you're metal as fuck.
Yes, I am, exactly.
Yeah. Americans were greatly concerned about the future of the country, and it was clear to everyone that science education needed to become a priority. The Century 21 Committee met with top scientists both in Washington, D.C. and here at home, and devised a tactic to make science not only a priority at the event, but also to make sure that the exhibits would be accessible and understandable to lay people.
That's so fucking rad.
Yeah.
That's the best possible attitude you can have. I love that.
They wanted to create discussion, education, and curiosity amongst the fair guests.
Oh, that's bitchin'!
Apparently there was an...
Educating the masses!
Yeah, get your learn on!
Fuck yeah, STEM! Woo!
Apparently the other places had tried this, but they made things too complicated. And people didn't get it.
No, like, you gotta, if you want to educate people, you need to start from a place where you want them to be on your side.
Right.
Like, you need to talk to them like people, and not like everyone's a scientist, because not everyone's a scientist. But if you make people realize how cool science can be, like, who doesn't want to Bill Nye the Science Guy that shit? Everyone does.
Everyone does.
Yeah, throw a party in there, oh my god, it's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a great plan.
Yeah. Contacts were made internationally, and 35 foreign governments agreed to become part of the fair. Which is no easy task, since Seattle was not particularly well known, and many outside the U.S. thought it was a suburb of Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, we still have that problem.
Yes, we do.
That's still a thing.
Well,
also, I bet Russia wasn't invited to that.
It was called Washington because it was originally going to be called Columbia.
Yeah.
Oh, you know about this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do know about history.
I do, yeah. No,
but they were worried that we would be confused with the District of Columbia.
Because everyone calls it the District of Columbia.
Yeah, well, that's why it's British Columbia to the north. The whole parcel of land that connected British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, Idaho was all the British were all calling that Columbia.
It would have made a lot more sense if we just gone with it.
If it would have been Columbia and British Columbia.
Someone thought that you would confuse the wrong things.
Which, ended up being much more confusing.
Infinitely more confusing.
Yes, they're bad and I hate them.
Seriously. Ugh.
The construction of the campus was about to begin, but it was over a mile from downtown. Alweg Rapid Transit Systems of Sweden was hired to construct a monorail along Fifth Avenue, connecting the fairgrounds to downtown. Literature for the fair boasted, quote, "The length of the monorail is a mere 1.2 miles long, but plans are already being discussed to extend the track all the way to SeaTac Airport."
Hey, that sounds pretty rad.
Since the monorail can achieve speeds of up to 70 miles an hour, it is likely that gridlock and traffic jams will be a distant memory by the year 2001.
Oh my god. Okay, so we're just going to pause for the people at home to pause their podcast so you can just violently swear and yell, because none of this turned out to be true.
No, you don't think that is there still traffic in Seattle?
Yes, there's still traffic in Seattle, and it is neither metal nor bitchin' nor awesome. It's I think we all share a common hatred that the monorail partially started because it's kind of in the middle of everything.
Monorail's kind of a mess,
and it only goes to two places.
It connects two food courts.
And it doesn't go at 70 miles an hour.
No, it certainly doesn't. It's quicker. See, I live, as I mentioned before, I live on Lower Queen Anne, and I go downtown almost every day. It is quicker for me to walk than it is to wait for the monorail, and the only time when it snows is the only time I've ever considered using it, and it doesn't run when it snows.
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's like $3, like $3, like $3 or $5.
It's more than the bus. It's much more than the bus.
What the fuck? I have a lot of public transportation feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. All right.
It goes on to say, we may not even need roads at all. Bubble cars may be the standard form of transit, along with personal helicopters and jetpacks.
All right. Dear city of Seattle, what you have right here is a solid-ass list of options that we could be taking right now. There was talk
Bubble
about...
cars, yes.
Well, there was talk about gondolas as a way to get from Capitol Hill downtown. That
I remember that,
we could
yeah.
build even further into the sky and test God's will even further.
I thought weren't they going to do that? Wasn't there a plan to
There
build the
was.
gondolas?
Yeah.
Now it was like 3 years ago. I remember that
But
now.
it fell into that awful Seattle pit of, hey, we have a really great idea to fix this giant problem, and then it just goes into this sinkhole.
Let's build a tunnel instead.
Yeah, because that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another episode, I'm certain.
In 1959, Edward E. Carlson, the Century 21 Commission chair, was traveling in Germany when he ate at a restaurant built atop a broadcast tower.
Ooh.
He loved the experience and had the idea for a similar restaurant in the sky for Seattle.
Wow.
His concept was a flying saucer that he doodled on a piece of paper and showed around.
I've seen that drawing.
Yeah.
It's at the top of the thing that was eventually built that looks a lot like that.
Yes. Yeah. Architect John Graham drew up the plans and added the element of the restaurant rotating while diners ate to get a full 360-degree view. He had just completed a similar project of a rotating restaurant in Honolulu.
Man, they didn't change that design at all.
Not really.
Like, yeah, from original concept to
It looks like
implementing.
a child's drawing too. Of
does.
here's 3 lines and there's a disc on top. Can you make this? And they're like, yeah, fuck it. It's 1962. We'll make it.
All right, Jason. I imagine Jason is spelled with a C and a Y. Can you just draw what you think a spaceship looks like? And he just doodles some shitty ass drawing. And they built that, and it's 300 feet tall.
Love it. Love
pretty
it.
rad.
Taller than that.
Bitchin'.
600.
Yeah. Rad.
Yeah.
Yes. Space. STEM.
The construction was privately funded, and to this day, the needle and the land it is on do not belong to the city, but to private investors. Space Needle is still
So they
private
can
property.
do whatever they want with that. Sort of. I imagine.
Well, no, it's all if the private investors want to just shut it down, they can just shut it down.
That's what I mean.
They can tear
yeah.
it down.
Yeah,
the city can't
no.
do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, the people who are in charge of stuff, which is probably why they get away with painting it cool stuff and putting up flags.
You mean
dependent
when they
on
painted it
occasion.
orange?
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
originally orange.
Yes,
and
yes,
the
I
top
remember.
spire is a gas lantern.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
But
charming.
At the
oh my God.
2012 50-year anniversary,
Yeah.
they lit it up again. It only was lit for a little while.
Yeah, I didn't know about the lamp, but I remember when they painted it orange for the 50th. That was really exciting.
Yeah.
I like the orange. They were just fun.
Construction of the Space Needle began April 17th, 1961, and was completed December 8th of the same year.
Damn, that's
Incredibly fast.
Wow.
For the scale of the project.
And yeah, for anything in Seattle, that's amazing.
Yes.
Wow. Plus.
When it was opened, the average cost of dinner was $7.50.
That's pretty cool.
Which was still a lot for the time.
Yeah. But still, that's pretty rad.
You been up there?
Oh, yeah. Plenty of
Did you ever
times.
get the lunar orbiter?
No.
It's the dessert that they have. It's an
Oh,
ice cream sundae,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
put it on dry ice.
Yes,
And so
yeah.
the dry ice...
They picked that spaceship thing and just kind of ran with it.
Oh, yeah,
And
it
in the
kept
moment,
going.
when you're up there, it's like, oh no, this is exactly what I should be eating in a giant UFO.
Yeah.
This makes total sense. We always take people from outside the country up there.
Oh, yes.
So I work for a gaming company, and we have a lot of global community members who come and visit the office. And whenever they do, we always take them up there, and we always, show it off. And
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
a lot
not
of
a bad,
fun.
not a bad job perk.
My favorite thing that's popped up there in the last couple of years is that someone painted a mural of a daddy longlegs on top of a building directly next to the Space Needle. So if you're afraid of heights, you're already fucked. But if you're afraid of spiders, surprise.
That's really cool.
There's a giant-ass spider, and it's directly below you. Yeah, it's a solid 30 feet in width. It's this huge mural of a spider. And I don't know why they chose a daddy longlegs, but they picked a great place to paint it. So
Cool.
yeah, when next time you're up there, just get your ass scared out of your mind because it's a spider.
Will do.
It's right there.
The Coliseum, now called Key Arena, was renamed after Key Bank.
Oh,
Used to be called the Coliseum.
That's a lot cooler.
Yeah,
too.
it is a much cooler.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, it was still the Coliseum. And I remember being super confused because there was the Coliseum and then there was the arena. And then they started calling it Key Arena, but there was
Yeah.
still the arena on the other side.
Oh,
and I
what?
remember not getting it at
Oh,
all.
yeah,
and
no.
everybody treated me like I was an idiot because no, it's Key Arena. It's not the arena.
No,
but
that's...
it's this.
Anytime people change names like that, it's always confusing.
Yeah.
Especially for kid brains. So I feel ya. I feel ya.
The Coliseum was built to house the World of Tomorrow exhibition, and architect Paul Theory intentionally made the building look unique and futuristic looking.
It does. Side note about Key Arena. So I mentioned the global community members from my company who would come and visit. There was this one guy named Davide who's from Italy, and he's the largest NBA fan I've ever met. And so when he came to visit, we went up the Space Needle. He was like, "What is the Key Arena?" And so we looked down. And he was like, "I want to go." So we took him down there. It was the one place he was most excited to take pictures of because apparently he was a huge Sonics fan back in the day.
Cool. And, really? From Italy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, apparently they've watched basketball in Italy. But,
apparently they're none here, so they went
to
Italy.
It's just Italy. Yeah. But he was very sad, and he was like, "I love the Sonics so much.
Wow.
Thank you for showing me the Key Arena."
You could take him to a Storm game.
We did.
Did you?
We did.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
And we're like, "Look, they're actually really good too." And he's like, cool. "This is wonderful." So he had a great time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Another architectural highlight was the U.S. Science Pavilion, which today is the Pacific Science Center.
One of my favorite places in Seattle.
Oh, it's great.
I love that pavilion so much.
Seattle-born Minoru Yamasaki designed the pavilion, and it stands today almost exactly as he had envisioned. Yamasaki would later go and design many more buildings around the country, including the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. The Seattle Opera House, which still stands, was built for the event as well. The fair was originally slated to open in 1959 on the 50-year anniversary of the Alaska Yukon Pacific Expo, but it was delayed a few years for a variety of reasons. Ironically, just like the 1909 fair had been delayed, originally it was supposed to be in 1907 to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of the start of the Klondike Gold Rush in 1897.
Oh man, coincidence?
We have a long history of delaying massive projects.
But that's just part of the flavor, you know?
Yeah.
That's just part of the experience. And also, I'm sure it's allowed them to do a lot better work on what they had with some extra time.
Got bigger.
Yeah.
The gates opened at 11 a.m. on April 21st, 1962.
Woohoo.
The West Gate was delayed because someone lost the key.
Oh, no! Beans. What a problem.
Beans. The mayor, the governor, and a senator all made speeches at the opening ceremony. President Kennedy sent a telegraph key covered with gold nuggets.
Oh, lazy.
It was the same. He should have. It was the same key Taft had used to open the Alaska Yukon Pacific Expo.
Did he just have that, lying around?
It had been in an exhibit somewhere.
I like to imagine the president just has this, box of, jumbly items that are all really historically significant, and he just kind of pulls one out if it's relevant.
Yeah. Probably. They probably have massive storerooms at the White House for all that stuff.
Yeah.
The key triggered a radio telescope in Maine, which picked up the impulse from a star that signaled the official beginning of the fair.
Damn.
High tech.
Ah,
the future is now.
Yeah.
The fair was divided into 5 areas. The world of science.
Pretty good.
The world of tomorrow. The world of commerce and industry. The world of art. And the world of entertainment.
Wow.
The exhibits all had a science theme and were meant to be presentable to the layman. GE had an exhibit on electric living.
Cool!
Literature from the event read, quote, "In the future, vast electronic libraries might be at our fingertips."
It's true! They are!
With home movies that can be shown right after they are filmed and can be projected on wall-sized color television screens.
Yes, and sometimes shown before they're in films, too. Yeah.
And over in the corner, your very own home computer awaits. Perfect for paying bills and writing checks.
That's all we do on them.
Which is
true. It's true. Yeah.
Mom will surely like the all-electric kitchen, with its push-button electric sink and cool wall pantry. Feel free to chat with GE representatives out on the patio to learn more about these and other upcoming space-age electric products for your home of the future.
Oh, man. You did a great read on that. That was really lovely. But yeah, I think everyone could get behind a cool pantry and electric kitchen items.
Electrified everything.
It's pretty rad, yeah. And that's not far off from the truth.
Yeah. There was a model of a hydroelectric dam, a display on the benefits of wood paneling by the Douglas Fir Plywood Association.
Oh, hell yeah, because that, you know what, some things are always popular.
Yeah, wood paneling of the future.
Hell yeah.
There's a dome that projected onto its ceiling the Aurora Borealis.
Oh, that's nice.
Ford Motors had a ride to simulate going into outer space, as well as the debut of the Seattleite XXI.
What the hell is that?
To show what cars might look like in the future.
Oh, yeah! Were they all bubble cars?
Yes.
Yes!
The car had 6 wheels.
Oh, yeah.
With the front 4 moving in unison.
Oh, the 2 are future.
You know
That's
the
so
episode
good.
of The Simpsons where Homer designs the car?
Yes.
It looks just like that.
My
It looks
God.
pretty much exactly like that.
Oh my god, I'm using my imagination and my memory, and that's amazing.
The car also boasted projected features such as letting you know how much time is estimated until you reach your destination.
Hey,
which
cool.
we have now.
Yeah.
A scrolling road map so you could track where you are hands-free.
These people were so good at calling it. Nice.
Anti-glare glass.
Yeah, excellent.
And an engine powered by a small nuclear reactor.
That sounds super safe.
Yeah,
And
right.
renewable? Question mark?
Yeah.
It's not. But you know what? I want to feel like I'm driving a submarine everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and with the 2 extra wheels, like, I'm already there.
I
Sign
need
me
2
up.
billion horsepower in my car.
Real talk, though, what would maintenance on, like, a tiny, like, car-sized nuclear reactor look like?
I don't.
Do you just go into Jiffy Lube and be like, hey, do you guys mind touching up my uranium supply down there?
They probably would have thought that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Just like in Back to the Future. It's like, I'm sure in 1985, plutonium was available at every corner store.
Of course,
Well,
yeah.
That's what they're thinking.
Oh, yeah. I gotta swing by Freddy's to pick up some later.
Yeah. There was the IBM Pavilion, where a maze simulated being inside the processes of a computer.
That sounds stressful.
Well, a literature from the fair said, quote, at various points in the labyrinth, logical yes-no decisions must be made in order to find the way out. Are you having fun yet? If yes, then move on.
Oh, God. If no, too bad. You're trapped in a computer.
If yes, move on. If no, you're stuck here.
You're an exclusionary engine. You can't leave.
Yeah. Other displays show how computers will make our lives easier in the world of tomorrow. From electric libraries to language translating to weather forecasting, computers will become more and more important in our day-to-day lives. Who knows? Someday you might be able to take a historical compu-tour of these very fairgrounds.
Compu-tour!
And I did take a compu-tour of the fairgrounds to research this story. Yeah.
How was your compu-tour?
It was very stressful. No, it was great. It was cool. It's all kinds of old pictures and stuff.
Sometimes it's easy to get disillusioned with stuff. And, living in the future is pretty rad.
It is pretty rad.
It's not so bad.
I always say, people ask me what my favorite era is of history, I always say the present.
Yeah.
Because the present is way better than the past.
Yeah.
The past was fucked up.
The past was cool for, 4 people.
Yeah.
And, everyone else.
If you were a wealthy, straight, white, cisgendered,
white
heterosexual
dude
male.
from, the right family, you're fine.
And even then, you're gonna die at 45.
Exactly,
so really. But for everyone else, it's going to be a shitty go of it.
Yeah, you'll probably die of syphilis, but you'll be fine. But yeah, for literally everyone else, it's terrible. Of everything I've heard so far, the only thing we're lacking is wood paneling. Which we could all use more of.
Alison,
so
turn around.
Shut up!
Yeah.
There's wood paneling behind me.
There is wood paneling.
You know what? I think we all learned something today.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great.
Bill Allen, president of Boeing at the time, openly hated fairs.
Oh, well, poo on him.
But eventually, he was convinced to join the festivities.
Because it's so magical.
And sponsor the Boeing Space Arium.
Oh, what the fuck is an Arium?
It provided a simulated flight through space.
Yeah, that's way less stressful than being in a computer.
Yeah, right.
In a different way.
I think this was more popular than
that sounds a lot more fun.
Next to the Science Pavilion was the Christian Pavilion, which provided educational and entertaining displays in a Christian atmosphere for children aged 3 to 7.
There's not as much science in there.
Not necessarily.
No.
Bell Systems had an exhibit on the history of communication.
Ah, cool.
Quote, in the Bell Systems hospitality room, public telephones especially designed for the Seattle World's Fair are flush mounted on the walls.
Nice.
As if that weren't amazing enough, because that's amazing.
There's free telephones.
They have been fitted with new push-button technology,
Oh.
which will wipe out dialing finger fatigue as we know it.
Oh, God, I have suffered so much, and I've had to give my finger so many tiny massages because of finger fatigue.
This is the end of the rotating dial phone.
What an amazing world we live in.
Right?
Jesus.
Push-button technology.
Oh, my God,
Incredible.
that's fantastic.
Special family rooms are also available with mounted speakers and microphones, so Mom, Dad, and the kids can simultaneously speak to Grandma back on the farm. Won't she be flabbergasted?
Oh, she will.
Yeah, she's...
Oh, and it's so much better than FaceTiming because no one has to, look pretty or anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not looking pretty for Grandma.
Yeah, she can just guess.
There was a collection of carnival rides for the children called the Gayway.
Oh, yeah. Yes!
The Gayway.
Oh, yes, I remember hearing about this. Oh, God, God, that's the most unfortunate and yet fortunate name.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a fun place.
I want to have a
It's
gay
the
old time on the
way.
gay way.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we should all try the gay way every now and then.
Yeah. I tried the gay way in college, but it wasn't for me.
Oh, no. It's, hey, man,
Yeah.
labels. Like,
Yeah, ride the gay way.
Ride the gay way, yeah.
Show Street offered adult entertainment. Burlesque shows by Gracie Hansen, Paradise International performed.
Oh, yeah.
Sid and Morty Croft's Les Poupées de Paris, a dirty puppet show.
Ooh, yay.
Girls of the Galaxy was a show where young women posed naked for photos.
Perfect. Great. A+, gold star.
That was shut down almost immediately.
That's a bummer. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, little too far.
It wouldn't be Seattle if there weren't also some naked women in there.
Yeah, the burlesque stuff. Yeah, there's still a lot of burlesque
That's what we
today.
do. Yeah,
but hey, come take pictures of these naked girls. That's
As they could have done the marketing a little bit
they
better.
could have. Yeah, they could have at least added a little bit of song and dance.
There was like there's the dirty puppet show, and the French girls. We have a woman. She took off her clothes. You can
Click.
take pictures. Yes.
Click.
That's it. She's probably like standing on an apple crate or something.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wearing a piece of tinfoil wrapped around her head or something like that.
She has like a UFO painted on one boob, and that's it.
A ski stadium near where Memorial Stadium stands was constructed for water sport tricks.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
As with all World Fairs, there were displays and exhibits from many visiting countries. The International Fountain was a highlight, built to sync to music, and with colored lights, it was unique for its time, and still stands today.
It's still a lot of fun, especially when it's really hot out and you want to watch adorable children.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Coliseum housed the World of Tomorrow, where up to 100 passengers could ride the Bubble-lator.
Oh, yeah.
A large glass globe elevator that would carry them through a honeycomb of cubes where images of the future were projected, ranging from automatic windows and gyrocopters in place of cars.
Oh, man.
The exhibit boasted micro-mail machines that transmitted letters directly to each other.
Oh, wow. This sounds also like a really kind of discombobulating experience. Like
I'm sure it was incredibly disorienting.
Just being in a little sphere with just general images of the future shown
Well, the
around you.
Bubble-lator stayed at the Seattle Center for a long time, and now
nice.
it's still somewhere. I didn't look into where it is, but it's still somewhere. I think it's like an arboretum or something now. Somewhere. It's on somebody's property.
Huh, nice.
But I know it's, last I heard it was still intact somewhere in Seattle.
I'm glad it's around-ish in some capacity. That's not bad.
The World of Tomorrow also predicted in the future a 24-hour work week where people would earn $12,000 a year.
Oh, God. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Just think of all the starchy bread products and six-wheeled cars that we could buy if we earned that much money.
Thousands.
But I'm going to back up for a second. A 24-hour work week?
24-hour work week.
Total? That's it?
Total.
That sounds really nice.
That sounds great, doesn't it?
That sounds excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, sign me up for that. That sounds pretty cool. That and the wood paneling, I think, are the
24-hour work week, wood paneling, and you're set.
And then we're fine.
Set.
There we go. Sign me up.
In the 6 months the fair spanned, there were performances by Sammy Davis Jr.,
Hey.
Louis Armstrong, the New York City Ballet, Lawrence Welk, Johnny Mathis, and the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.
Oh, all of those are great acts. That's so good.
Yeah. They didn't all perform at the same time, which would be especially cool.
That would be really disorienting, but also you would probably die at the end because it would be too overwhelming.
Too much, too much. Notable attendees included John Wayne, Jack Lemmon, Bobby Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, Carl Reiner, Carol Channing, George Burns, John Glenn, cosmonaut German Titov, Jonas Salk, Rafer Johnson, Walt Disney, Elvis Presley, Richard Nixon, and Lassie.
Good Lord. And they all knew that Seattle actually existed for one brief period of time.
For one brief period of time.
Wow.
Yeah. Elvis filmed It Happened at the World's Fair.
Yes,
Here.
yeah. Aw, Elvis.
Yeah, the fair closed October 21st, 1962. John F. Kennedy was supposed to attend the closing ceremonies, but he was tied up attending to what would become the beginnings of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah, Bay Pigs, all that fun stuff.
So he had some stuff going on.
I think that's a pretty solid excuse.
That's a good reason.
Actually, I'm really happy he skipped out on this.
Yeah.
Because we probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, Cuba schmooba. I'm gonna go to the fair.
Does Cuba have wood paneling and a bubble-lator?
Probably.
Does Cuba do the gay way?
I don't know.
I really don't know. Yeah.
The fair was a massive success and likely surpassed Al Rochester's wildest dreams. Rochester continued his career in civil service.
Oh, good.
On September 24th, 1984, Mayor Charles Royer declared it Al Rochester Day, quote, to honor this dapper and charming man who has played such an important role in the history of our city.
What a cool dude. Wait, what was that date? September?
September 24th, 1984.
Nice.
Yeah. Rochester died February 4th, 1989, and he is buried in Lakeview Cemetery on Capitol Hill. There is a memorial speaker's podium at the Triangle on 3rd Avenue and Denny Way, which is right across the street from the Seattle Science Center.
Yeah,
in that little area in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, man, what a cool dude.
Yeah, right?
Like, what a great legacy to leave.
Yeah.
For helping the city become so amazing and hosting what must be, like, the most spectacular, like, public event that we've
hosting
ever hosted.
This massive, incredible event that left this campus here that still stands to this day.
That everyone uses every single day.
Yeah.
Like, most cities that host, like, the Olympics, like, you're left with all these, like, empty buildings. And even cities who also hosted the World's Fair are left with all of these, like, you know, awful buildings and no one ever touches because they're too, like, out of the way or ridiculous. But all of these are such a part of what makes Seattle, Seattle.
Yeah.
I can't imagine our city without a giant UFO thing.
Right.
Or without the Science Center, or without a Bubble-ator, even though I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Of course it's a part of Seattle.
Of course it's a part of Seattle.
Of course it is. It's the gateway, you know? Yeah.
The Seattle Center still stands, and it is host to many events every year, including Bumbershoot and Folklife, though many of the original buildings have been torn down.
Yes.
But yeah, it is that massive campus, and it's still, I mean, one of my favorite things that they've added not too long ago was all the lights underneath by the Opera House.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're walking over, I was walking home
so
randomly
beautiful.
at maybe 11:30 at night, walking through there, and I saw a woman fire dancing in there, and there was a photographer, and they were obviously taking some kind of publicity photos, but it was really cool, just like this area that you could just walk through and this amazing space.
One of my favorite parts about the Seattle Center is that in the Armory building is where a lot of the theater rehearsal spaces are.
Yeah.
So I have spent like a solid 2/3 of the last 5 years, like having that building be a part of my everyday life. And yeah, that walk right next to the Opera House with the lights and the little water feature are so beautiful.
Really
and
great.
Yeah, that area is so well taken care of. Mm-hmm. It makes me proud to be a Seattleite.
Yeah, I also spend a lot of time in the rehearsal spaces in the Armory, and that 4th floor rehearsal spaces
it's spooky and dirty up there.
Oh yeah, you got the homeless people wandering in your
in the middle of it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened before. Mm-hmm. Better than that, it's great.
It's great, yeah. It's
also,
fantastic.
the food options at Seattle Center are excellent.
I've gotten food poisoning twice from eating there.
Wow!
When I first moved to this neighborhood, I ate there twice in the first year, and I got food poisoning both times. And I'm like, I don't think this is before they remodeled everything, and they threw out all the old restaurants, and they brought in a bunch of new ones. Yeah, but I can eat there now. Yeah,
that so sucks.
I got food poisoning there twice in a year.
Oh my god! I promise it's better now.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. I go to that Starbucks a lot when I walk through downtown.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Skillet there is good. Plum's super tasty. There's really a lot of great salmonella-free
Skillet is good.
options.
I've had Skillet when I went to see The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay and book it, which was a 5-hour long show. It was fantastic. It was 5.5 hours, something like that. But they had a dinner intermission where you order your dinner and then you go up at intermission and eat and go. Yeah, it was fun. Skillet was great. The show was great too.
It was very good. Mm-hmm. There's lots of fun things to do at the Seattle Center.
At the Seattle Center. It all came from the Century 21 Expo in 1962.
Aww.
Well, thank you for listening to the Seattle Files. Thank you so much, Alison, for being here.
Of course, yeah.
Every week, I come back with a new topic, a new guest, and a new episode. If you have a topic suggestion that you would like to hear an episode about, shoot me an email at theseattlefiles@gmail.com. Thank you so much to Katrina Hamilton for this episode.
Seriously, thank you. That was a great topic.
Mm-hmm. Like us on Facebook, subscribe and rate in iTunes. The website is theseattlefiles.com, and I'll be back next Tuesday with a new episode. Thank you for listening. 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 New episode. Thank you.